Nice, cool, right, let's get going then.
What is the challenging question of life? Well, the challenging question is, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Now let that sink in. Everyone sitting here today can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. So for things to change in your life, you have to change. If you want things in your life to get better, you have to get better. There's one thing we can all agree on. We can't control what happens externally, but one thing we can control is our daily habits. Now, if you've been listening attentively, there's one thing that I've been saying, and that's you. So it's not the person to the right of you, it's not the person to the left of you, it's not the person behind you or in front of you, but it's you. So I want you guys to make a commitment today. And the reason why I say that, it's very easy to come to one of these sessions and just coast. Then you leave here and you don't even remember anything we've said. But I want you to make a commitment to change. So 12 months from now, hopefully if you're still at Funding Circle, I would actually love to know that. Who would be at Funding Circle this time next year? But hopefully you're still at Funding Circle. So 12 months from now, have you made any progress in your life or have you stayed the same? Well, hello everyone. My name is Uyiosa and I'm a sales manager in the marketplace team.
Hi, my name's James. I'm a sales manager in the FlexPay team.
So I just want to ask a question. Who here struggles with either starting a new habit or making a habit stick? Can I just get a show of hands? Yeah, and I think we can all agree on that starting a habit is difficult. But what me and James are going to do today is take the principles from Atomic Habits. Has anyone read that book? Can I just get a show of hands? So just to make it simple, so you can go away feeling empowered and knowing how to make a habit stick.
Perfect. We appreciate though that 45 minutes is a long time for you guys to be sat listening. So we're going to kind of make this as interactive as possible moving forwards. But Uyiosa, why don't you start us off with a bit of a story to get us going?
Of course. So when I was younger, I used to be a massive introvert. And if someone told me, I was to stand on stage and speak in front of 200 people, I would rather jump off a plane without a parachute. But when I was an introvert, I didn't really like it because I couldn't express myself. So I did want to be confident, I did want to be outgoing, but I struggled a lot with limiting beliefs, poor self-image, and poor self-worth. And I always used to look at people that were confident. I said, I want to be like that guy, I want to be like that girl. So my teacher said to me, why don't you make it a habit? So that's what all of us are going to do today. We're going to make it a habit. So what my teacher said to me is, once you go into a new environment, just speak to 3 new people. So you could ask for the time, you could introduce yourself, say, what do you do? So what I want everyone to do is stand up quickly. So I want you to find...
We're not moving you forward again.
We're not going to make you sit back down straight away. So I want you to find... So this is really important. I want you to find 3 people that you've never met before in this room. I want you to introduce yourself and tell them what you're looking forward to about today's session. Let's go.
Perfect. Hopefully made 3 more friends for life there. Good start. And then Uyiosa, you going to take the next part?
Sure. So hopefully you guys learn actually, starting a small habit like that, speaking to someone new isn't that daunting. All we need to do is take the first step. So I want to tell you guys another story actually about a young boy who wanted to plant an oak tree. So the young boy goes into the field and he takes his seeds and puts it into the ground. So every day the young boy comes to the field and he waters the seed. But 1 week goes by, nothing happens, nothing grows. 2 weeks goes by, nothing happens. 1 month goes by, nothing happens. 2 months goes by, nothing happens. And the boy gets a little bit frustrated and he goes over to his dad. Dad, I've been trying to grow this tree, but nothing is happening. And the dad said to the boy, don't give up, keep on going. One day you will see that tree. So something interesting happens. So it takes 3 months of nothing happening. He goes in relentlessly every day, watering the seed. But something interesting happens. Just after 6 weeks of nothing happening, the next 6 weeks, the boy has an oak tree. So why am I telling you this? Because when you start a new habit, it's like putting a seed into the ground. So you're not going to see the results straight away. But what happens is, most people give up just before the point where you start the result. So I want to encourage you guys today, with the habits you're going to pick shortly, that when you do start that new habit, don't give up, keep on persisting, and just like we learned in that story, you're going to see your tree grow.
Great stuff. So now what we're going to do is play you a short video. In the video, it depicts two people. One on the right who basically takes one habit and every day actually goes forward and achieves that habit. And then the one on the left who starts off with that habit but then chooses to ignore it. And we'll see how they get on over the course of the year. Nice. Wow, yeah. Round of applause for the video. Very good. Cool. I think we can all agree after watching that. Yosa with his flawless skin and great physique is probably more the guy on the right. Sometimes I think we affiliate much more with the person on the left. So the next part is looking into kind of, we're all obviously here today. Hopefully you signed up to it. Or maybe you joined us kind of overspill, but I think we all start as the person on the bottom rung. And why is it that when we have the best intentions, we don't necessarily get that habit to stick? And actually, sometimes it's just a misconception of what we're trying to achieve. And I think the person depicted here on the right often goes off with kind of the best intentions, but maybe sets those goals too high and actually finds that they are then actually exceeded by the person who's taking that one small step every day. I think moving forwards onto the next slide. So what does kind of the benefit of small steps actually mean for us? So it might not feel like we're doing much day to day, but actually over the course or an extended period, we can be doing quite a lot to actually achieve success. depicted by this very straightforward graph here. So effectively, you're doing 1% better every day. One of the benefits here is this is actually kind of a compound effect. So you would actually find yourself doing almost a 38% gain in that habit across the course of the year. And obviously vice versa, if you were to kind of go 1% worse every day, you find yourself in a much worse spot. But obviously just kind of putting up a graph, putting 2 arrows on it is not really going to be life-changing. So I thought we'd give some tangible examples just to make this a bit more exciting. So we'll start with reading. Again, if we could make this kind of audience participation, that'd be great. So if I were to tell you to read 20 pages of a book every day, how many books do you think you'd actually read over the course of the year? And again, no right or wrong answers, so wrong. A bit higher than 12? 20, almost, going up a little bit more? 25. Love that, George Gibbon, well done. So 25 to 30 books a year could be read, actually, if you just read 20 pages a day. So, you know, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Twilight, probably getting a bit worse as I go along here. Autobiographies, you know, Atomic Habits, the thing that we're discussing today. So a lot of things you can do to kind of expand your horizons there. Again, if we take that same principle and we put it to a financial aspect, if you were to take £10 and you obviously save that every day over the course of the year, this one a little bit more straightforward, how many pounds would you save over the breadth of a year? Perfect. I think, who was that? Eamon, love that. Yeah, £3,650 a year, which is staggering. According to Virgin Holidays, hashtag ad, that could get you to the Caribbean 4 times in a year. So I think next time you're a bit hungover and you're going for that delivery takeaway, maybe just save that £10 and save for something a little bit better for yourself. And then again, applying the same principle to running. So if we were to run a mile a day for a year, you guys probably clocked this one. How far would you run? Eamon, you are killing it, honestly, I've got to say. Round of applause for Eamon. Yeah, 1 mile per day is 360 miles per year. Honestly, glad you came to this session, I'm sure. But that actually is the equivalent of running from London to Edinburgh, which, again, if we told you to do that in a week, a month, that would be a staggering feat. But actually, just by that 1 simple mile a day, then you can accumulate a huge amount of running. Now, obviously in sales, we do this quite a lot as well. Some of my team are here, probably looking a bit sheepish, but you'll know emails, dials, calls, we're always pushing for an extra one of those every day, and you can see that over an elongated time, that really does have an impact, so keep that up. But you can do this in all walks of life, and this, maybe I'm a bit sad, but I found quite fun. I walked to the fridge the other day, looked at kind of getting a 7-Up and thought, okay, I wonder how many calories are in 7-Up, and if I actually just stop myself drinking one every day, and 55,000 calories. So yeah, maybe stick to water, folks. But again, if you've got something, you know, that is just one thing that you're potentially doing that's a detriment, think about the impact that might be having. So cool, next slide.
So onto the fun part. So I want everyone in the room to pick one habit, and when you are choosing this habit, think about an area in your life you want to improve. So it could be your career, it could be your finances, it could be your relationship, it could be personal development, spiritual development, so anything you want. So what we've done is we've given you guys some suggestions. Of course, you don't have to use any of these, but I just need you guys to pick one habit, and that's really important because we're going to be using that one habit for the framework which we're about to show you guys. So just in groups or pairs, just discuss for 1 minute what that habit is going to be and why it's important to you. Let's go.
Nice. So hopefully you guys now all have a habit firmly in mind. That's the thing that obviously we're going to look to try and improve over the course of today. So basically, there's a formula in order to make this habit stick, and we're going to run through that step by step now, just to give you guys a bit of kind of taste as to what that might look like, and then hopefully can go onward and put it into action. So if we start with step number 1, that is making it obvious. So what do we mean by making it obvious when it comes to habits? A good example for this might be if you're starting kind of a gym routine. How about you actually go and pack your bag the night before, you put it right by your door so that when you're about to go out for the day, you know that you pretty much can't actually physically leave the house without picking up that gym bag, and then that's more likely to get you actually one step closer to doing that activity and making that habit stick. So again, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is, with that habit that you have in mind, speak in your groups, and how are you going to make that habit obvious for yourself? So give you a couple of minutes on that.
Attention please, attention please. Can we bring the room back in order? So step number one is all about making it obvious. So this is how can you remember to actually do the habit. So any cue that you guys can come up with, just so you remember it on a daily basis, is really important. So step number two is making it attractive. So this intensifies how to actually do the habit. So a lot of times there's a lot of resistance when it comes to doing a habit. So we have to have a think about how we can make it attractive. So just on the topic James was talking about with exercise, it could actually be joining a group. It could be listening to music while you're doing the habit. It could be watching your favorite TV show. So have a think about, with that habit, because as we know, habits are not always fun and enjoyable to do, how can you actually make it attractive so each day or each week that you actually want to do it? So again, in groups and pairs, let's just discuss with the habit you guys chose earlier on, how we can make it attractive.
Great stuff. So hopefully now you've got step two, you've made it attractive for yourself, got that firmly in mind. So moving on to step three, and this one is all about making it easy, which is a really important step. So if you've read, again, Atomic Habits, they talk about this in depth. One of the key features here is taking that habit and really kind of taking the stress out of it. So the principle we're going to apply here is whatever that habit may be, just simply doing it for 2 minutes a day, which again, if you kind of like look at something like exercise, might feel very easy, almost too easy to achieve, and that's great, because if you do that for a week, 2 weeks, a month, what you're actually doing is not only just obviously the kind of the process of exercising, it's about really embedding that habit as well, so it feels second nature. And then what you can do once that habit is embedded is slowly increase the kind of the amount of time that you're doing it for, and then hopefully as a result of that, obviously improve that habit. So yeah, again, this one fairly straightforward, but think about how you're going to make that habit easy. You're going to do it for 2 minutes. When might you actually do it in the day, and how are you going to ensure every day that that's done? So again, in your groups, if you can discuss on this front.
House in order, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers. So the third step, like James was saying, is making it easy. So this is all about taking baby steps. And although it may seem insignificant, like doing it for 2 minutes, but what you're actually doing is like a building block. If you were to build a house, you have to lay a brick at a time. So this is like laying each brick to actually get to eventually where you want to go to. So the fourth step is make it satisfying. Do we have any parents in the room? Just a show of hands. Any parents? Woo! Shout out to the parents. So how you can make it satisfying. So imagine you had one of your children and you wanted to get them to do something. So it could be their homework, and you could say, well, if you complete your homework, you get McDonald's afterwards. So this is all about a reward system, and it could be really small. So I'll tell you something I do. So I get the train from Farnborough station. Shout out to anyone in Farnborough, probably no one in here. So anytime I exercise in the morning, I buy myself a nice latte on the way to work. But when I don't exercise, I don't buy the coffee. So that actually so when I do exercise, it makes it satisfying because I know I'm going to get that reward at the end. Or it could be after you read a book for like an hour, you go on social media, because we all know Gen Zs love social medias. So think about, with your habit, how can you actually make that satisfying? So what reward system can you put in place? And it could be something very small, but this is something that's actually going to make the habit stick. So in groups again and in pairs, just have a think about how you can make that satisfying. Let's go.
Four habits, then I'm going to move into the disappointment, value of disappointment.
No, it's not. So it's four habits in a habit formula.
Okay, cool. Yeah, habit formula.
Smithy, how are we doing for time?
When's this finish?
I think it's 40 minutes, so we're starting out. So we still got time. So it should finish at about past.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So give the thumbs up when you're ready. It's sick how...
Perfect, cool. Oh, can you guys? No. Yeah, perfect. Cool, right, let's bring it back. So hopefully now you've all used step 4 into making it satisfying. And just to summarize then, so these are the 4 easy steps that we discussed in order to make that habit stick. So to reiterate, step 1, make it obvious. Step 2, make it attractive. Step 3, make it easy. And then step 4, make it satisfying. So hopefully now you've got the formula. Yost is going to give you a couple of tips and tricks to help get you on your way to getting this habit stuck.
So the next thing we're going to do is called the habit formula. And if you remember, I said earlier on, so it's good to pick a location, a time, and the cadence in which you want to do your habit. So with the habit you've chosen, think about what locations you want to do it in. Can it always be the same location? Or maybe it's on the move when you're on your way to work. What time do you want to do it? So if we do something consistently the same time every day, think about it, we all come to work the same time every day. Some people are late, some people are not. But that does make it easier knowing that we start work at 8:45 every day, unless you're Mikhail and you always show up late to stand up, but it's all good. So if you guys get your phone out, so I just want you guys to answer all those questions and what you've discussed before. Again, feel free to chat in your pairs as well about how you can answer all these questions. So we'll just give you guys a few minutes to do so, and feel free to take a picture of it as well. So to make a habit stick, this is something that I do. So it's something called a habit tracker. So it's very easy to do. You can get an Excel sheet. And obviously you can start with one habit, but you can basically list all the habits that you know would be good for you to do in a day. Then you can actually track if you've done them or not. So this is a way to gamify it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but here are a couple of mine. And as you can see, there's some days I don't do the habit, but you know, the days you don't do it, that's completely fine. It's always about getting on track as well. So this is a very simple tool that you guys can use to make a habit stick. And again, you find it's very effective just in terms of the consistency and doing it on a daily basis. And I think the importance of this as well, because every day we're not going to feel motivated, but this is a good way to instill discipline. So picking the actions that we know would be good for us in the long run.
Cool, so next, obviously we're going to talk about kind of the results here. So hopefully you've got the techniques that you need to go out and do this. But I think it's really important that we actually talk about this kind of next period of time, whereby the expected results that we expect and actually what we get are slightly less significant. And this can lead to something called the valley of disappointment. But I think it's really important that we understand that that is likely to happen. So I think we've all been there, we're kind of doing that exercise or embedding that habit, and we're sort of reeling through, like, is this going to make a difference? Is this a benefit? Do I really care about this? It's really, that's completely natural, and you're natural for feeling like that. So do ensure that even while you've got that kind of mentality, that you continue with this kind of 1% step process change. And actually, like, we can assure you that if you continue with this, at that very moment that you think about dropping off and that it's not going to work anymore, is likely to be the point that you start to see the best results for yourself. So it's really important to kind of ride that period. That's actually the hardest bit. And then actually when you're starting to see all this gain and all this benefit is probably the easier part, and just maintaining that. So bear that in mind. And then sort of following back to, I guess, what Uyiosa said at the start of the session, if you're going to do kind of one thing going into a session, I know, like, we kind of joke about, but like some people just jumping in here is the last thing to do. Like, hopefully you have actually wanted to make a habit stick. But just really, I would ask you to come out of this and just try and change one little part of your mindset. Even if it's just making sure that over the next week you go away and you do that 2-minute rule. What can be seen on this, with this kind of pretty picture of this plane here, is that ultimately if you change that plane's direction, of course, by 1 percentile, you can end up in a completely different direction. So yeah, please, you've been obviously listening really attentively, you've all got involved really well, so please do just make that one small change and you will see a difference to that habit.
So just remember, so I want everyone to repeat after me. Small choices becomes actions. Small choices become actions. James, I think we're in the wrong room here. Like, a little bit more energy, guys. So yeah. I want you guys to say it so loud that the people in the other auditoriums can hear what we're saying. Can we try that again? So small choices become actions.
Small choices become actions.
Actions become habits.
Actions become habits.
And habits become our way of life.
And habits become our way of life.
And I just want to finish with the quote I said at the start. So for things to change in your life, you have to change. And for things to get better in your life, you have to get better. We can't change the world, but we can change ourselves. Thank you very much.